Hi everyone, what's going on? Online? Hello, shout out to everyone. Thank you for making Thursday's video my most viewed video on this web platform. I just want to say that was a better game than I expected. Granted, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. After all, it is Steelers versus Dolphins. Two teams that were great back in the day. Well, the Steelers have still been great, but the Dolphins, they've been average at best. Average at best. And, yeah. But before we get into that, I would like to discuss the games that happened besides just that. I want to give a whole recap of the whole season because I'm guessing not a lot of people really watched today's game. And if they did, it probably was more so just the fans of the Dolphins and the Steelers and maybe just some hardcore fans like myself. So what happened in the week that was? Well, over in Thursday in the Twin Cities themselves, the Minnesota Vikings hosted the Washington Redskins, who have only had one win on the season, and it showed. This is a team that's in the last 2 weeks has now scored only a total of 9 points in total. That's right, 9 points. They scored 9 points against the Vikings, which even though they did hold to 19 points, they still ended up losing. They only settled for field goals. And yeah, they made the runs with Adrian Peterson. By the way, big moment for Adrian Peterson, becoming 6th all-time in rushing. And what better way to do it than in Minnesota, the place where it had the zenith of his career. It's where he became the player we all know. It's a team that drafted him, team that he spent the most amount of time with from 2007 all the way up to 2016. He's still playing, even on a bad team. It's just still incredible. It says the longevity of a legend like Adrian Peterson himself, AD, all day, as we call it. However, they did get the loss. Now the Vikings are 5-2. The NFC is tough. It's loaded. They can go 10-6 and potentially mix the playoffs. That's how tough it is in the NFC for this year. Moving on to the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. Talk about the London game. Cooper Kupp had a phenomenal day, like over 200 yards and like 10 receptions, including that massive, just wonderful pass. Like it was basically a trick play where Goff threw it to a few players, then he went back to him, then he threw it out to Kupp at the 50-yard line. Oh my God, what a play by him. And the Cincinnati Bengals, again, they lose again. They're not trying to tank, but they're 0-8. They're 0-8 for the season. Also, an interesting stat line. Back in 2015, Andy Dalton as a starter went 8-0 to start the season. This year, 0-8. Yeah. It really canceled it out. And now, there's 11 straight losses from Dalton as a starter and like a total of 1 win since week 8 of last year. The Bengals have been awful. They've just been disastrous. By the way, the Bengals, as bad as the 90s Bengals were, the lowest they ever got was 3-13. Imagine if this team goes even worse than that. Imagine if they go 2-14 or 1-15, or if they manage to beat the Dolphins, what they go 0-16. It's actually not that out of the realm of possibility when you really think about it. Moving on, you got the Cardinals and the Saints. Drew Brees came back from injury, and they just rattled through the Cardinals, who now Chase Edmonds is out. So what they do, they traded for Kenyon Drake for a 5th and I think also a 6th. Yeah, I mean, just anything to help out that running back core. Maybe you can sign Jay Ajayi as well, or hell, maybe even call up LeGarrette Blount if he even wants to play. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, the Saints are on a roll. They're 7-1. They're on the upper echelon of elite championship caliber teams. And yeah, this is again another team you're probably going to see in the NFC Championship game. But look how well the top 3 teams in the NFC are. Hell, they might not even make it out of the divisional round. That's how loaded. Man, just incredible. Moving on to the Broncos and the Colts. Broncos had the lead for most of this entire game. Their defense was a force. There's a lot of defenses this year. Last year was all about offense. This year is all about defense. What's next year going to be special teams? Yeah, so the Broncos had it tied, but then at the end of the game, just always with these Broncos, at the end of the game, they allow a team, they get too conservative in the red zone in a 2-minute drill. They're afraid to go ballsy. And what happened with the Colts? The Colts managed to march down the field. Vinny kicked the game-winning field goal, and the Colts are 5-2. They're currently the 2 seed in the AFC. Look to be a challenger to make the AFC Championship game. I don't think they'll beat the Patriots, but certainly a contender. You can't rule them out. Imagine how they'd be if Andrew Luck, but don't forget Brissett. Brissett is fantastic as a starter. Broncos, wrong horse. They're going to be without their lead horse, as Joe Flacco is going to miss next week due to a herniated disc in his neck. Brandon Allen's going to start. Could this be the end of Joe Flacco before we know it? Might be, because Drew Lock is going to be active again like week 10, week 11. Maybe around that time, maybe you can actually see a little bit of him play, but maybe they just want to redshirt him this whole year. Who knows? Let's see how that goes for them. Because now they're 2-6 to be the season. They really should be more than that. They're better than their record indicates. But you could also say in their losses, their wins, they're a little bit worse than they indicate. They're a bit of an enigma right now. The Broncos look to have 3 straight losing records in a row, losing seasons in a row, which is just, for a team that's never had it for the last 40-plus years, nothing lasts forever. And the Broncos, as great as they were for so long, it looks like the end is here. It really does. Meanwhile, you look at the Windy City, where the Los Angeles Chargers, traveled to Chi-Town to face the Bears. Bears needed a win out of this. They badly did. They badly needed it. Nagy coached a better game. Trubisky still wasn't good. I still think he's a bust. Rivers didn't play great. Melvin Gordon got a touchdown, thank God. But at the end of the day, Pinheiro, maybe the Bears had their kicking, maybe their kicking woes were answered. And then Pinheiro said, no good on the field goal. And that is exactly why the Bears did not get the W and the Chargers did. And it was a close field goal too. It's just, oh my God. Maybe they could trade for a guy like a Marcus Mariota. That's what some people have said. But honestly, I feel like after next week's game, if Trubisky does not improve, hell, the defense hasn't been that great the last few weeks either. If he doesn't improve, maybe you should just bench him in favor of Daniel for like the whole season. We already know what you got in him. Meanwhile, moving on. This was supposed to be Winston versus Mariota Part 2, but instead it's Winston versus Tannehill. So how did Winston and Tannehill do? Well, Winston was okay. He still struggled in key moments. But Evans, he now has the most amount of receiving touchdowns all time by Buccaneer. Good job for him. One of the greatest players in franchise history already. Meanwhile, on the Titans, they got the win. It was a close win. They came back and won it. They were leading for most of the game. Buccaneers came. They took the lead. Then the Titans took it back. You could see how much better this offense is under Tannehill. And Tannehill only had a 1-year deal. He's going to be a free agent along with Mariota after the season. I think Mariota for sure is gone. Could they keep Tannehill around another year? I mean, I guess they could, but, you're not really going to... You already know what you got in Tannehill. He's an average starter. But just miles better with Tannehill. I think they're going to roll with him for the rest of the season. No point in checking on Mariota again. You already know what you got in him. And the Titans are now 4-4. They are just 1 win away to potentially challenging the Texans for the 6th seed in the AFC. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers, 2-5 now. You're lucky you had the Falcons in that division. You're lucky. Very, very lucky. Eagles and Bills. Congratulations on Frank Gore. Only 99 yards away. No, not only 100 yards away from becoming number 3 all-time in rushing. You just need a 100-yard game, and boom, you are 3rd all-time. Truly a legend. But the running that stole the show was from the Eagles. The Eagles had over 200 yards of rushing on the Bills defense. This is supposed to be a Bills defense that has been one of the better units of the league. And this is a year which is tons of great defensive units. And the Eagles just ran all over them. And the Eagles won 31-13. I mean, for a team that had a humiliating loss to the Cowboys last week on Sunday Night Football, they came into your building, came into your house, and humiliated you. Now, granted, luckily for the Bills, they are in the AFC, and I still think they're going to hold that for the rest of the way. But, man, listen, it's good beating all these bad teams, but to show your true power, you need to beat these good teams as well. Now, I'm not saying the Eagles are a good team. I think they're average at worst, but they're an okay team. But try to see if you can beat teams outside of your division. Because, other than the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins, you could handle those guys. Yeah. Not good. Hopefully better things next week. Meanwhile, the Eagles, they got the Bears coming. They can try to beat them as well because the Bears haven't been that great lately either. Meanwhile, the Giants and the Lions. Giants played tough, but at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford's having a good season. They got the W at the end of the day, and yeah, Shermer's probably gonna be gone after this season. I mean, Lions are now third in that division. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Excuse me, but it might be. It's going to be close. Let's just see how it goes. Jets and Jaguars. We saw Jackson DeVille going down the pole. Not the pole, like the big, was it like the plane? I don't know how they do it in Jacksonville, but he was dressed as a ghost, and I thought that was pretty funny. And, yeah. The Jets' offense has been anemic. Is Le'Veon Bell happy he's in a Jets uniform? I know he got his money, but he got less of it. And he's playing for the Jets, who are just a team with only one win. 1-7? No, 1-6. Still. Mess. Meanwhile, the Jaguars are now 500. Minshew has been great. I don't think he's going to give up that job to Foles. I don't see it. Marcel Darius is on IR, but he's okay. It's not going to matter anyway. He's been really a non-factor or an okay kind of contributor last year's. It's not really going to matter that much. And Joe Ramsey that was traded to the Rams, and their defense was still playing well, so I don't think it's really going to matter. Calais Campbell's still there. That's really matters in this case. Seahawks and Falcons. Matt Ryan's first missed start in over 181 games. It's one of the best streaks ever. Matt Schaub, especially near the end, over 450 yards passing. Fantastic. Just the passing for Atlanta. Imagine if Ryan was there. Might have still had a chance to win. Now, if you count the missed field goals that Matt Bryant had, 3 of them, they would have won this game. But then again, the Seahawks were also up 24-0. They won 27-20, but this was a blowout. This was a blowout victory, but it doesn't show it on the scoreboard. This is the first time the Seahawks are 4-0 on the road. When they'd be only as good as home. Again, another very powerful team in that loaded NFC. It's going to come down to the wire, but I think they could still do it. Meanwhile, the Falcons, again, you're done. Just might not even play Ryan for the rest of the season. You might as well just sit him and just tank. But he's going to play next week, most likely. No, he's not playing next week. I think it's a bye week, so yeah. Meanwhile, the 4 o'clock games, 49ers, man. Wow. Just wow. Just complete demolition over the Carolina Panthers, 51-13. The most amount of points they laid on an opponent since 1993. This team is legit. This team is 8-0. No, they're 7-0. This team is 7-0. Saints, Packers, 49ers. Those are the 3 best teams in the NFC. No question. 3 best teams. No one can argue. That's what it's going to come down to. And hey, it's going to be a fun, wild ride. Nick Bosa is going to win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. No question. And yeah, Garoppolo has been a game manager for them. Yeah, I said it. Listen, it's a team that runs, throws past to George Kittle, great defense. That's all you need, and they're getting the wins. That's all that matters. Yay! And the Panthers, Kyle Allen had a miserable showing, but don't worry, he's going to start next week. I don't think Cam Newton's going to play for the whole season. I think he's just going to rest and he's going to play with another team next year. Maybe the Bears. Yeah. Browns, Patriots. Remember when this was supposed to be the marquee matchup for the 4 o'clock games this week? Yeah. Browns are shooting themselves in the foot. Freddie Kitchens is over his head. Baker Mayfield, at this point in the season, has been Mitch Trubisky without the commercials. And has been Mitch Trubisky with commercials and moxie. Is Beckham happy being in Cleveland? I don't know. The Browns just have just as many wins as the Giants, so I guess he feels exactly the same. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, it's been a mess with the Browns. They're lucky the Bengals are in that division. They are so lucky the Bengals are in that division because with the way they're playing, they could potentially go like 4-12, 5-11, and still be third in that division. Because regardless of what happened tonight, the Ravens are running away with that thing. Meanwhile, the Patriots 8-0. Yay! Again, another win. Yay! Woo! Good for you guys, I guess. You know, another win for the Patriots. It feels like, oh, the sun is up today. Okay. Oh, they won again? Oh. That's going to be my expression when they make the Super Bowl again, most likely. Raiders, Texans. Came close. Came down to the wire. Texans came back and won from that magical play by Deshaun Watson. J.J. Watt out for the season with a torn pec. Could it be the end for him? Might just be. But they're in it. They're competitive still. We'll just see what happens. Then Sunday Night Football. Packers, Chiefs. This is the team. This is a great game. Yes, the Packers won. And I know about the punt. What really came down to was the fact that the defense was not able to really stop the run at the end of the game. They were just too exhausted. And yeah, Rodgers played a phenomenal game. He might be the MVP frontrunner this season. The Packers are 7-1 again with the Saints and the 49ers in that mix. I understand the flaws of Andy Reid, but please, guys, it almost feels like, I don't know about you, but I almost get the feeling that these feelings that people are having on Andy Reid, it just feels like it's just so classless. I mean, he's just an easy target week after week for everything. You gotta feel bad for the guy. I really do feel bad for him. I understand he's making money, but even then, you know, gotta feel for someone in that situation. Mahomes is probably going to be back soon, but 3 home losses, and they're going to be home again against the Vikings. Ugh, not good, but I still think they're going to win that division, considering it is a rather soft division. Everyone in that division lost except for the Chargers, and they lost by a missed field goal. So don't worry, I think they'll still make the playoffs, so they'll be okay. Yeah. And then Monday night game, what just happened? Dolphins were up 14-0 against the Steelers. However, Dolphins said, "Oh, wait, if we continue to score points, we might actually win this game." But right now, tanking is winning. And we have a total of, what is it, like 4 teams with 1 win or less. So yeah, it's got to embrace the tank at this point. It was 4 teams with 7 or more wins so far for the season. Been pretty top heavy and very bottom heavy in this season so far. And yeah, it looks like the Dolphins might try to. It looked like they were intentionally trying to tank, because you saw in schemes in which it's third, it was a pass play, and they were out blitzing him. They were going all out, just an easy allowed touchdown, fumbling the ball left and right, including strip sacks. It seems like they were intentionally trying to tank They were intentionally trying to lose this game. Which, you know, if you're trying to get the number one pick, you're working. It's winning. But I guess from the outsider's perspective, it's like you don't really care. You just want to try to get the first round pick. But then again, if you're in a situation like the Dolphins, hey, it's working for you. Do it. You got to tank for Tua. Or be bad for someone else, like Burrow, I think. Trade deadline's approaching. Some guys you need to keep in mind is like Trent Williams could get moved. Chris Harris Jr. could get moved. O.J. Howard could get moved. Darius Slay can get moved. So many guys could move. But one thing's for sure, Vic Beasley's not going because, from my understanding, teams don't even want a 6-rounder for Vic Beasley. That tells you how much of a fluke his 2016 season was, and mostly since then he's largely been a bust from that 2015 draft class along with Mariota and Winston. It's been a weak draft class. Other than like Cooper and Gurley, not really many notable big names. Just maybe Scherf. And just some okay guys, the busts. There's also Byron Jones. But yeah, hopefully next week. This is a good week. I might be back tomorrow if the Astros win. If not, I'll be back on Wednesday if the Nationals win. And I'll also give my week predictions on Thursday. I hope you guys had a fantastic NFL Week 8. And I hope Week 9 is even more enjoying or just as enjoying at worst as this. Take care, guys. Have a nice night.